G'day and welcome to the new workshop. It's pretty great. It's like 4 times the size. It's not much to look at though. I think I might try and do something about that. Whoop. Cool. It's not much of an improvement, but it's better than nothing. Not bad for an old bed sheet. Trying new things, seeing how they go. Cool. Let's crack on. So last time, you'll remember, we prepped the soles, we prepped the shoes to receive the soles. This time around, we are actually going to attach the soles and hopefully get these shoes done in this video. I'm going to try something new though, something that I haven't tried before. Might fail, might work really well. We'll see how we go. Basically, on the base of here, we're going to place a piece of leather, at least 4mm thick. And then we're going to place our rubber on top of that. Now, what I would have done in the past is, like with this pair, gotten a sheet of rubber with the grip on it like that, cut it to shape, stuck it on, and then sanded this section smooth, and then attached another layer of rubber, sanded that smooth before attaching the final layer. So that's 3 layers right there. The problem with that is that you use a fair amount of rubber, which is not super cheap. It's a lot of work to get rid of all that grip, and it creates a hell of a mess. As you'll learn with making these and using rubber soles, if you use a sanding gadget like this, you will create the foulest, stickiest dust ever. So to do something different, I'm going to do leather there, rubber on the front, and then stack leather for the heel, and then have rubber right on the base there. That way I don't have to sand off any of the grip, and hopefully we'll save a bit of money by not having to just stack rubber on top of each other. So let's get started. We have our inner sole piece that we drafted earlier. We're going to lay it out on some 4mm thick veg tan. You can go thicker if you want. And I'm going to trace around it. It's a bit difficult because this leather's been rolled up for so long. Pro tip, don't keep stiff leathers rolled up, keep them flat if possible. Alright, so we've got our outline there. I'm going to use one of these. Don't know if you've ever seen them. Essentially, there's a little hole in the middle. Jeez. There we go. There's a little hole in the middle of that disc, and the distance between the hole and the edge of the disc is 6mm. So what we do is we can roll it along the edge of our template like that, and don't do what I just did, go off course, and it will draw a border exactly 6mm from the edge of the template. Except this pen's a little too fat to get in the little hole. So we're going to do our best. Great, great. Okay, that's not working very well. I'm going to find a more suitable pen and try again. So I tried again with the pen and it was a bit of a dead loss. So in the end I used this awl, which has a nice sharp point that the camera won't focus on. And it was able to fit through the tiny little hole, so it worked. I've just gone over that score mark from the awl with the pen to make life easy. Now I'm going to cut that out and then flip this that way, not that way. Very, very important. If you flip it that way, you'll end up with 2 left shoes. You need to flip it this way. So I'm going to flip like so, move it around to here, so that's the most efficient way to fit it in. Going to do what I've done just there, and then cut that one out. So first we'll cut this one out. Now we're not getting super close to the line. You can deviate a bit as long as you don't go over, because remember you can always take it off, but you can't add it back on. So using this big square knife that I made, I'm going to cut it out. This may not work that well, but we'll see. That's working pretty well. There we go. Cool. Now to the other side. Just to try something different, we're going to use a round knife for this one. I'm not super familiar with round knives, but this one's incredibly sharp, so it shouldn't be too hard. All right, we've got both of these done. Now, what we're going to do is scuff up this section out to that line. So that is what is going to be glued down to our shoe. So we've already scuffed up this section. We're going to scuff up this section so that we can get a really good bond between the two, because that bond is what will hold the whole shoe together. If that fails, shoe falls apart. So let's do that. So two things I forgot to say. Firstly, you might have noticed that I stuffed up there. Now, because that's ink, that's probably going to show through on the final shoe, which is not good. To prevent that, if you are using one of my magical little discs, which you can just get on eBay, or make yourself out of, I don't know, anything round, you can glue this to a piece of thicker card, because the issue I had was that this kept slipping underneath rather than hitting the edge, because that is just too thin and it kept bending up out of the way. So that's how to fix one of those problems. If you don't have this and you don't have anything else you can use, the really simple way is to just get a ruler, if I can find one. Get a ruler. After you've traced around your pattern, go through and mark out every 6 mil. Sort of go around, I don't know, every 25 mil, about the width of the ruler, and put a heap of marks all the way around the edge, and then just sketch in between them to give you your edge. Cool. Now, to rough these up, there's a few ways to do it. We could use our sanding machine over there. The problem is it has a tendency, at least with my particular one, unless you've got a really rough grit, it can sort of polish, which is the opposite of what we want right now. So we could also use a dedicated roughing tool like this one, which are sold by pretty much any leatherwork mob these days. So they work. They do that, which is pretty effective. Otherwise, we can use a knife. Which is way more effective than I thought it would be. Same with a round knife. just got to make sure that you're stopping right at that line and not going any further, because the shoe will be covering up to that point and a little bit over, but if you scratch out here, it will show up on the finished shoe, which is not what you want, just like those pen marks that I did. So I'm going to scratch away. I'm not sure what's going to be the most effective tool, so I'll probably swap between a few, but I might do the bulk of it with this big old knife. I'm pretty happy with that. You can definitely see the difference. Right, I'll do the other one and then we'll prep for gluing. So we have our water-based adhesive here. We're going to give a good coat to both surfaces and then dry them and very, very carefully put them together. I'm honestly not sure how successful I'll be at this. I haven't tried it before, but hey, we'll see how it goes. So I am going right to the edge of where I've sanded, but taking care not to go any further. So where I've spilt a teensy bit up there, making sure to wipe it off as quickly as possible. So there, give it a wipe. That's a pretty thorough coat all over that. Now I'll do this piece. Take care not to put glue beyond that line. Now, something to be careful of with water-based, well, contact adhesive in general, is you don't want a thick layer of it. You actually want a fairly thin layer. So the problem with using a brush is that you end up with lots of ridges, and that is not actually beneficial for gripping. What you really want is one fairly thin and very consistent thickness layer all the way over, which is a bit hard to achieve with a brush. Alright, our two halves are prepped. I will dry them out a little bit more with a heat gun, and then we shall stick them together. Well, the lighting's not great down here, but we'll do our best. Alright, heat gun. So you want to heat it until it becomes translucent and really tacky. Right, now that that's quite tacky and I can smell my burning knee hairs, I'm going to very, very carefully line this up. Hopefully it works. Okay, so far, not great. This is pretty hard to show on camera because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I think I just succeeded. All right, so while they're still tacky, I'm going to press them down. Should have told you to have your hammer on hand. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. It's got not a great margin around it. Looks like I put the shoe too far this way. But, yeah, it's not the end of the world. We can deal with that. Great. You can see how on the side here it's taken the shape of the arch quite nicely. Great, time to do that to the other one. Right, we'll have to leave it at that. In this lesson we've attached our midsole. In the next lesson we will be attaching our outer sole and heel, depending on how much time we have. After that we're getting pretty close, so see you there.